What's up guys, Shane from Fugatech 3D Printing. Today we're going to install a Volcano Nozzle and a Titan extruder on the Alfawise U10. Welcome back guys. You can see the Alfawise U10 is an enormous printer. I mean, it is 400 by 400 by 500 millimeter build height. It is just a giant printer. There's so much you can do with it on this giant build space, but the problem is with a 0.4 millimeter nozzle, it takes forever to print big items. Well, today we're going to change that, and we're going to change that with an E3D V6 hot end with a Volcano nozzle. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the Volcano nozzle, what it is it's basically the standard E3D V6 heater block, but turned sideways. And the heater is going down along the nozzle. And the nozzles are much, much longer than a standard nozzle is. Let's just say like the threading of it. It goes way up into the heater block. That way it gives the plastic a really long time to melt, and then it can push out lots of it. I mean, these go up to, at least the largest I've seen, is a 1.2 millimeter hole. Like orifice, I should say, is the more proper term for that. That's huge. Today I'm going to put on either a 1 millimeter or a 0.8 millimeter. I think I actually have a 1.2 on here right now. I was kind of throwing around the idea of what I want to do. I wasn't really sure. So that's what we're going to go with for now, is one of those two. And on top of that, we're going to go ahead and install a Titan clone. I should verify. This is an E3D clone. So this is like a $15 hot end. It's pretty cheap. I'm also going to throw on a Titan clone, which they're south of 30 bucks. I want to say maybe this was like 20 on Amazon, but I'm doing this because this will also help me extrude plastic much more efficiently than it would using this janky MK8 extruder. It's just not cool at all. I don't like it. I want to get rid of it. So we're going to throw on this as welling, and that will really help with our extrusions. Now, you can't just take this hot end and be like, bam, it's mounted, I'm done. No, it doesn't work that way. We're going to be using what's called the Pet's Fang. So this is it's a lot of different parts, and I'll put a link down below so you guys can check out all the parts to it. But basically it's going to be using a 50-15 fan that gets mounted here onto the top, and it blows down along goes down both of these ducts and comes right out here around where you're extruding. There's a lot of different parts that go into this. You have the main back piece, which also has a mount for a bed probe, which we're going to do I'm going to do a different video on that, on how to do that. I'm actually going to do a DIY version of one. It's going to be similar to kind of, it's an inductive probe, so it'll work on any build surface, but let's just say it'll fit in here. We'll do a separate video on that. And then we have the front clamp that's going to go on there. It's got the mount here for the 40-40 fan. We're going to go ahead and reuse the one on here. I'm going to boot this up again and see how loud this one is. I do have other ones sitting around that I could use, but if this one isn't too loud, we're just going to go ahead and reuse that. That clamps here onto the hot end. Once we get this on here, and you guys will see all this when I do the actual assembly of this on the printer. So we have our hot end, everything assembled on there, and then this clamps here onto the front of all of this. This gets mounted on there with a couple screws so that it can grab on there. I can't get on there right now like that. Either way, it's a pretty easy install once we get everything together. It's supposed to be. I've never done this before. Obviously, it's all sitting here in my hands. So we're going to hope that this goes well and get this all installed. So we're going to switch over here to the small camera, spin this around, start taking everything apart, take off the hot end, and then we're going to put all the new one on, new heaters, all that jazz, and get this thing rolling. All right, so first things first, we're going to get this shroud off here, which is just a couple screws. Easy enough to get off, assuming you don't lose them. That'll come out later. And there should be another one. Where's the other one at? Oh, it's behind the fan. So we're going to have to take the fan off now. Or get to that, and those have a different bit head on them, of course. Now we can get to that screw to get this shroud out of the way. Okay. Now we have this fan here, which we can go ahead and take this one off as well. Again, I'm not sure what we're going to reuse on these, but I need to get this shroud out of the way. They just have some nylon nuts holding them on the back. I do like how they have these fan grills on here. Not many Honestly, I haven't seen any other printer I have those on them. Fan shrouds out of the way, and here we have the very, very strange hot end. It's a super weird setup. I might need to heat this up in order to get this PTFE tubing out, which, you know what, I don't really care about it. I'll just put a new piece on if I can get it off at all. Okay, fine. That's not coming off, so we're just gonna cut that out of the way because I really don't care. I have plenty of tubing to reuse. And then we need to get this off, which is so oddly put on. It's got double nuts on the front holding it on. It looks like it's actually screwed in from the back. But we'll get all these off first. And there's the hot end, just kind of pops right off there. So I think I'm going to keep the heater on this because I'm using the same heater on my clone, just a standard 40 watt, which usually comes on these. So we're going to go ahead and take this heater out, and the thermistor as well. We'll save those. Okay, there's the hot end out of the way now. Now we can look on to better things, which is going to be our new mount, which I am not entirely sure how this is even going to go on there. So I think these are going to need to come off. I don't think we're going to be reusing these, but it might be one of the ways we hold this on. There's no real instructions on how to install this, at least not that I've seen. So we're going to get these standoffs out of the way. We might need to go ahead and take this off to get these screws out of the way. It looks like that is going to be the way that these are held on. So, that being said, here in the back we do need to go ahead and insert some M3s, which since just took them off of this machine, I can go ahead and reuse them instead of using any of my own. M3 nuts, I should be more specific, so those just kind of sit right in there. And we're going to take off this big Bertha here. So we're going to take off the carriage. We're just going to take off the bottom wheel. That'll be we only have to move one wheel then, so we can get to these other screws to get them off. Then again, maybe not. Maybe we're going to have to take off the top ones too. All I got to do is get to the back of this thing. There we go. Now that's out of the way. We can pull out these crazy long screws. So before we tighten all that down, kind of look at this. And this has a groove there, so it kind of just slides down onto this. So it clips on and over. I probably can drive in this way, but I don't know what size I can use. It's gonna have to be small. So we're gonna go get the M3 screws out and see what I can find in my stuff. So we're gonna use 10mm M3s to hold that on, but now I have to put all these wheels back on so that I can move on to the next part. See, the problem is that is still wicked loose, so we're gonna grab an eccentric nut and put that on there. We're just gonna put the eccentric nut on the bottom just because you only need it to be down there. It's still really, really loose, so give me a second, we're gonna fix this. All right, so I got the hot end disassembled, I should say, the carriage disassembled. I got the actual carriage a lot more stable now. We're gonna go back in time a little bit because I actually had some problems with the PETG parts. They were not matching up the way they were supposed to. So I thought I printed the wrong parts. I went back and reprinted some of the parts again in PLA. Now, my problem is that the one kept failing on me because it didn't have much support to it. And the other problem is now that once I am actually lining all of this up, the holes are still not really matching up properly. And that's really bothering me because it's supposed to be for the E3D. And this clone is an identical to the Volcano that I already have. And I'm not understanding why it's not lining up for me. And as I try and put this together and put everything where it should go, the holes are nowhere near each other. And I can't figure out what the problem is. Like, all these parts are labeled E3D for the E3D V6. They have the V6 on the back of them. So I'm rather annoyed. So I'm gonna get this to work. So don't look down there. I am gonna get this to work. We're just gonna have to drill into this main carriage piece. I'm just gonna drill into this and make the holes line up. So I will make it work. We will get there. So I'm gonna go ahead and get back to where I was, which was having the back plate of the carriage installed, the hot end on there, and the clamp on the front, and we'll go from there. So that's going to give me a minute to just get all this back together, and then I will come back and we'll show you close-ups of how we get the rest of this on and get the fan mounted. I also need to identify which fan I'm going to be using. There's two of them here, so I need to identify which one is the part cooling fan and which one is the hot end fan. So I'll get all that and I'll be right back. Alright, so going into the box, I figured out that the blue-green wire here is going directly to the 12 volt input of the board, which is the direct output of the power supply. That is the 12 volt, so that's the always on. So that we're going to install right here on the front with their little grills. Might as well use it again since they supplied it. And I think we're pretty much installing this a little bit backwards. I don't like the way that the cable routing is designed for this thing. There's not a whole lot actually I like about this, but it's kind of the only real option for this. You know, putting a Volcano on here, no one else really has developed a whole lot for it, so I'm kind of stuck, but that's fine. I'll make this work out. I'm just gonna get this installed real quick. Okay, so that's simple, done. We're gonna end up running the cables up here like this. I'll figure out a way to attach them there somehow. I'm not quite sure how I'm gonna do that yet, but we are gonna need to peel this back here, and this is just some electrical tape. This was very poorly put on here, and the end is not melted, so yay for that. We'll take care of that all later. The reason why we're doing that is because we need to get to this fan. This is gonna be our hot end fan, or I should say that's gonna be our part cooling fan, because if I look down into the board, that is the red and black coming in. That's going into the fan, what's it called? It's just called fan 12 volt is all that's called inside. So that's what this is going to be, and that will mount, well, this will get replaced with the blower style fan. So here we have the new mount, and this has to go on like so. Get these wires up out of the way here. So it's supposed to go on just like this, and if I look at it, it's the mount holes are way up there. That's way wrong. That's not correct at all. They need to be down here, so this has a little bit of clearance from the print. So I'm going to go ahead and mark these holes, and I'm going to drill them. There's already one of the two on this side meet up. One on this side does not meet up whatsoever, so I just need to kind of center as best I can. As I said, we're just going to drill it real quick. It shouldn't be too hard. So 1 minute, I'm going to drill that out, and I'll be right back. Alright, so I also did a hole over here, so just put 1, 2, 3 bolts in there. That is all really nice and stable now. I really like that. So all we have to do now is we've got our blower fan, which just gets put into here. Should just kind of snap in there. And then I'll get some, I think these are need like 25 millimeter to be able to fit through that. I think that's what it was. But I'll find some 25 millimeter M3s, and I think I have a 20 here. Yeah, 20 will work. And I just have to get some nuts, which I think there were some left over from this. I'm not sure. Either way, get some nuts. Go ahead and attach this onto here, and then I can just run this cable around the back, and I will hook it into here. I'll probably just throw maybe a DuPont on here. Maybe I'll just solder it together for now. It's easy enough to desolder it for me, but the recommendation is put a totally new connector on there, or make this JST male, I guess this is the female, to go into each other. That way you can easily replace it later. Maybe I'll do that. I don't know. I really want to just get this done because I want to see how it prints and see what the effects are. I want to make sure everything works too. So I'm going to go ahead and get this fan on here, and we'll go on from there. Alright, so here it is, all fitted out. Finally finished. So to show you the bolts, I had to screw this one in here, and then the one up here I had to add, and the one down here, that hole was already there. I went ahead and added on a P-clip right here just to hold on to the cabling. This will eventually hook up with the PTFE tube up here, and that'll keep that out of the way. And I kind of totally forgot, but Tim from TH3D, I called him real quick, and I don't know if I can show it, but under here you have to actually drill through the carriage in order to add the eccentric nut. And the eccentric nut is just, as you see, the hole is off-sided. Can we focus, please? So the hole on Eccentric Nut is offset there from the middle. So you actually have to drill through the carriage so that this flange part down here can fit in. And that way when you turn it, it changes how close, how far the wheels are to the carriage. So now if you look at the carriage, we can see that there is no wobble whatsoever anymore. And it slides really nice and smooth. So now that is all done. Now we're going to move on to removing this, and we're going to go ahead and put on the Titan arrow down there. Yeah, that's about the best I'm going to be able to show you guys. So we're going to go ahead and get this off now. So I got to get my bits and everything back over here to me. Take off these extruders. You always do the arm first, because I got ahead of myself there for a minute. It's just a little harder here because this goofy filament sensor is there in the way. So once that's out of the way, then we're going to take out the other bolts here, which will disconnect it from the extruder motor. I'm probably going to have to go ahead and move the 3D printed filament sensor here. Probably going to have to go ahead and take that off. Don't drop it, don't drop it, don't drop it, don't drop it. Okay, this other one here is just in there really weird, probably cross-threaded a little bit when they installed it. Okay, so there's our motor off. Got the old extruder plate off. And we're going to go ahead and remove that because I'm pretty sure it's in the way, and it's that middle one that's holding it in there. There's more than one holding it in there. This one too, maybe? Yep. Oh, that was the P-clip holding it on there as well. So I don't know what we're going to do with this. I may end up disconnecting it, but for now we're just going to kind of set it down here to the side, and we'll figure out how we're going to use that again later. There might be a thing out there to replace it. I don't know. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and get our kit. And there are instructions in here on how to do everything, on how to set it all up. So that I'm not going to go into depth, because if you buy one of these, you're going to be able to see it. So I'm just going to show you kind of a time lapse of me installing it on here. The one thing you don't have to worry about is this spacer plate. You don't need, because this plate here is going to act as our spacer. That's the one thing you do need between a 1 and 3 millimeter space in order to make these extruders work properly. So let's get started. Alright, so that's the completed Titan install right there, and it's set up as a Bowden. So now the thing I need to do is I need to go up into one of my bins up there and get out some PTFE tubing and make it roughly long enough for this. So I'm not quite sure how long we're going to make it. Maybe we'll try and home this down and put it all the way up to this corner, because that'll be the furthest. Going up is the easy part. It's the going to the far corner here is where we really need to make sure that we have enough to go to it. I guess it really only matters to right here. As long as it's long enough to go right here, like that, we're good. So let me get a piece of PTFE tubing and we'll do that real quick. Now, having a big bundle of PTFE tubing is always nice to have. This is just, I don't know, I don't even work outside the eBay or AliExpress or something. I just got a whole giant chunk of it. And it works out really well. The only thing that you have to make sure that you do is you have to use an X-Acto knife, and you have to make sure that you make a nice straight cut down onto it, because you want to make sure that when it goes into your hot end, it's going to be nice and flush against the nozzle when it gets down there, because it's a Bowden setup. So this goes pretty far down in there. So we're going to put that down into here first, and make sure we can get it all the way down there. I like to use a pair of needle nose to ensure that it goes all the way down, which I think it did. And we're not going anymore on that, okay? And then pull this all the way over here, and then we just need enough to get us into here. So I'll give it a little bit of extra slack, but you want to try and keep it as short as possible. And then you need to make a nice straight cut through it. They do make like PTFE cutters if you really need it, but I don't really find that as to be necessary. So that's as far as the travel is right there. So we're going from one end all the way to here, and we're going all the way over to this side. And there is plenty to make it all the way over there. Alright, now I'm going to, let me find some zip ties here real quick, and we're going to go ahead and re-zip the wire bundle to the PTFE tubing just to get it up out of the way. This is not going to be anything like super tight either, it's just to help keep the cable up out of the way. And yeah, that filament sensor does not fit back on here, so I'll have to figure out something else to do. I'm not going to worry about it right now, but it is something that I will have to worry about in the future. That should be enough to keep it all up out of the way. I think there is something here to kind of keep it there. Maybe I'll throw another zip tie down there. You know what I'm thinking? This might end up working out okay, even though I'm really not happy with the hot end. The Pet's Fang, which people, again, had talked highly about, it's just not, I don't know. I talked to Tim at TH3D, and we chatted just briefly about it, and he did have to do some changes, kind of like I did here. So it's definitely not the perfect one-stop shop setup, but it definitely is better than the stock. I definitely can say that with confidence. So, and I guess maybe with this, I'll just go ahead and just run the filament sensor, just have it kind of hanging here. It won't really matter unless I can get a piece of PTFE tubing between or in it and the extruder, because the extruder you should have a piece of, for the Titans you should have a piece of PTFE going in it anyways. That is just to help out guide the filament in there, especially with TPU filaments, and they never really fit in there, so I just kind of shave down one side of it a little bit to let it fit in there a little bit easier. Okay, so now what do I need to do? We're going to flash the TH3D firmware on this. He does have firmware that supports this. He has firmware that supports the Titan. He has it for his Titan, but the steps should be the same. There really should be no difference in them as long as they're geared the same. So I'm going to go ahead and try his. If you want to know how to flash the firmware, I'll put a card up here to Tim's guide. He has a great video guide on pretty much how to do anything with his products and things that he puts out there, and they're all free. So it's the great thing, his firmware is totally free. You just select your printer, and everything in there is already set for you pretty much. There's very few things you have to change. And also I want to use his because eventually I'm going to put on either his Easy ABL or my own ABL system is going to go on here, and I'll run that cable along this one as well. And his firmware supports that already, his Marlin firmware. So I'm going to button all this up, and I'll get my computer hooked up. I'm going to flash the firmware, and then we'll give it for a test run here, and we'll see. So we're going to have to test. We need to see the extrusion to make sure our E-steps are set properly. We also just want to make sure that this moves the way it should, easily and freely. I mean, we'll make sure I didn't make this a little too tight. Might need to loosen up that eccentric nut a little bit. And that's kind of just the checks we need to make. And we should be good to go. So I'll be back once I flash the firmware, and we'll see how it turns out. Alright, so it is several hours later, and I'm sorry for the noise, but I have this thing printing right now, and it's working just the way I wanted it to. My big problem, it's also kind of funny I'm talking through the printer because it's so doggone big, it's in my way. One problem I did experience is that for some reason this printer would not connect to my desktop, and I didn't feel like rebooting it because I have 1,000 tabs open and I have a lot of projects I'm working on right now. So I hooked it up to the laptop, was able to update the firmware that way. The TH3D Titan was a little bit over extruding, so I think it was 463 was his E-steps, mine were 417, is what ended up being an exact 100 millimeter extrusion out of this when 100 millimeters is commanded. I also had to get a little bit of finicking with the nozzle. It wasn't quite lined up properly in the heater block, so I went ahead and did that, and now that the filament was a little hard to get through at first, but after that was solved, it was fine. So I'm just printing out right now a 40 millimeter cube, and just to kind of see how the extrusions are, I'll do the calipers and kind of measure it out to be sure that it's extruding exactly at a 1 millimeter width. I'm doing a 1mm width with a 0.6mm layer height, so it's putting out a ton of plastic very quickly. For right now, I'm not using the filament out sensor. I just put a filament cleaning rod through that for now. I will, again, I'm gonna have to get online and see what other people have done, or I'll just, again, just let this float like this, and it'll just be on the extrusion like that. But so what I'll do is I'll put a bunch of links down below. So I'll put links for the Pet's Fang if you guys want to use that. I'm going to put some links to if you guys want to purchase some things. So if you're going to purchase a Titan, I'm using a clone right now. If you want to purchase a legitimate one, I'll have some links down there for Amazon that you can use. I'll have links for TH3D on his firmware where you can download that. Again, there is an instruction manual inside the zip file if you install the full bit. Arduino is in there, a mobile version, so you don't have to install anything. Just double click it, it opens right up. And the instructions on how to go through it, again, are super duper easy, but if you have any questions with it, please leave a comment down below and I'll be happy to walk you through the steps on how to do that. So we're gonna call it there, guys. I thank you so much for tuning in. Again, sorry about the length, but if you guys enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you guys end up doing this, please upload your makes to the guys for the Pet's Fang. Again, all links will be down below. I'd love to see what you guys have done. You can link me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter if you guys end up doing this. I would love to see how it is that you implement this in your setup. If you guys want to stay tuned what's going on, make sure you hit that big subscribe button down there. If you hit that bell icon, you'll get an email notification when I upload new content. If you guys want to help me out financially, get access to my after show, right down below me is a Patreon link. Donate me $1 more, that gets you access. And if you donate more than that, I greatly appreciate it from you guys. So thank you for tuning in and helping me out that way. There's some one-time links down below if you just want to do a one-time donation. And there's a bunch of affiliate links down there with coupon codes. Make sure you check out the whole list down there. Might be able to save yourself some money. And a little slice of what you buy with those links comes back here to help me out the channel. So thanks for watching, guys. Until next time, happy printing.